Hey coders, so today we are going to see how does the error handling mechanism works in Mule 4. As you can see, I have Anypoint Studio open on my screen. It's Anypoint Studio 7.5 with Mule 4.3 pre-installed on this. Some of you might be familiar with Mule 3.x, so you may notice that there is a fundamental difference between the 3.x and 4.x Mulesoft, especially on the error handling side. I'll create another video to showcase that difference, but for the scope of this particular video, we're just going to use Mule 4.3 and see how the error handling works. So I'm going to create a new project for this, and I'm going to call it example1, and let's go here, and on the palette, if I type on error, you can see we have two options here. So on error continue and on error propagate. So what's the difference between these two? When do we need to use one of these two? We'll discuss that once we run this project and see how these two behave in the real-time scenario. So I'm going to create a new HTTP service here. Right, let's use the default configurations. Let's see, I'm going to use propagate here. So the path is for the propagate. On error propagate. I'm just going to drop it here for now. Yeah, I can drop it here. So let's set a payload first. So I'm going to set a payload. I'm just going to say operation started here. Operation started. And then I'm going to make this service fail by making this transformation component, not transaction, sorry. I need a transformation here. There we are. I'm going to make it fail purposefully by dividing an integer by 0. So this is going to throw a divide by 0 exception. And on the on error propagate, I'm going to log the error message. This is error inside error handler, and let's just print the entire mule message we have here. Before that, I would also like to show you that I'm using the Postman software here. This software is used to make the HTTP request and see the responses, and analyze and test your HTTP services and all. So pretty cool software. I'm going to use that. So let's run this example here. So example 1, debug as. Before that, let me just set a debug point just to show you how the debugging also works in this. The project is starting. All right, the project has started. Before we go a little further ahead, some of your curious souls may notice that in the log here, there is something called as Uber. And what does it has to do with the Uber, right? It's nothing to do with the Uber company that we know. This is a polling strategy, the threading strategy, which is a new addition to Mule 4.3. And in order to explain that, I'll create another video. Please check the description below. I'll provide a link for that. But for now, let's go ahead with this example. Now, the app is up and running. So let's call our service, our localhost 8081, propagate. I'm going to send the message here. It has rightfully came in. On the first debug point, on the transform, this is going to fail. So you can see we have an error, the payload has been set, the error message is mule expression, and all the details why this is failing, divided by 0. And now let's just catch it in the propagate. So it's going to go into propagate, print everything for us, boom, all done. So what happened? What did we do? So if you go back to the Postman collection here, you can see that we have, instead of receiving the payload that we set originally, we have division by 0 here, and the status is 500 server error. So it's because we are used on error propagate. It has propagated the error. Now if I had another payload set here, so let's set another payload inside this, and let's call it out that error occurred in service, right? And I'm going to rerun this example. Yeah, it's already running, so it's going to reset itself. It's ready. I'm going to send this again. It's here. This time I'm just going to skip everything, go ahead, go back. So you can see, even though I set a payload in the error handler after logging, the payload is not set as the part of HTTP response body, and the status is 500 server error. Sometimes this is a valid scenario. You may want your APIs to fail and give you back the 500 server errors or any other errors, but then there could be some scenarios in which even if the error happens, you still want to continue the process. It may be that some of your target services are intermittently down, you have until successful block or some other mechanism on the calling side which is going to retry, and within next second or so your service may come up, and on the next retry from the source side it may be able to continue its processing. So in order to take care of that scenario, the Mulesoft has provided another error handler, and that is on error continue. So we're going to try using that for our next example. So I'm just going to create another example project here just to keep it clean. I could have created another flow in the same example, but for the sake of clarity, example 2, I'm just gonna copy this to example 2. Right, instead of on error propagate, I'm gonna use on error continue. Again, I'm going to use the logger. Error occurred. Message. Set the payload. It's going to say error occurred in the service. Right. App is going to continue. Just to make it clean. And then let's run this. There's another instance running. Okay. Yes. So it's going to shut down the previous instance and run a new example. Initializing. app is deployed. Now let's go back to the Postman, and now actually I should have changed the path here, so I'm going to change the path to continue. Alright guys, the copy and paste doesn't work all the time as you can see. Alright, now it must have restarted again. Yeah, good. Continue. And then as you can see, let's go back to the log. The error was thrown, the application failed. The message is kind of similar to what we have seen previously, but the difference is on the source side, which called this service. The HTTP response body has the payload that we have set in the error handler, and the status is 200 OK. In the previous example, we had 500 server error, and the response body was division by 0, the X error message. So in case of on error propagate, the difference is we get 500 service error and the error message. In case of on error continue, we get status 200 OK and whatever payload we set after that. So the app has continued processing. So if there was another application which was trying to retry calling this application, that retry would be successful after a couple of attempts maybe, and there won't be any manual intervention needed in this case. However, it's a valid scenario if you want to have some kind of a notification or manual intervention when this kind of a scenario happens, you may want to use on error propagate. I hope you like the video. Please click on the like button and subscribe to my channel for more upcoming videos on Mulesoft intricacies.